The story started at a water park where two young sisters were enjoying a day off. The older sister encouraged the younger one to get over her fear and take a ride down the large water slide. A lifeguard on duty reassured the little sister that everything was safe. Meanwhile, a group of teenage boys ignored the lifeguard's instructions and piled onto the ride in a bid to break the record for most people on one slide at once. One boy even pushed the lifeguard down the slide too, but little did they know, deadly danger was right around the corner. Since they didn't use a mat, the dozen or so people got stuck in the middle of the slide. The supports started making a creaking sound. Under the excess load, the slide structure failed, and a section collapsed, flinging 3 of the boys to their deaths. The 113 Fire and Rescue Team, led by Don Hart, arrived at the scene to secure the area and evacuate the remaining teens. The firefighters quickly climbed the ladder to rescue them. The terrified kids were all crying. One of them was too scared to move. With the firefighter's constant encouragement, he finally stepped trembling onto the ladder. Soon, most of them were rescued. One of the lifeguards remained behind to assist a boy with a serious back injury. While helping the injured boy, the lifeguard lost her footing and ended up hanging precariously from a metal rod high above the ground. The situation was critical. At that moment, Field Cadet Blue Hart stepped in, climbed the metal structure without a safety harness, and pulled the lifeguard to safety. The dramatic act was caught on video and went viral, earning Blue the nickname #HotTarzan. However, his daring rescue also raised concerns because he bypassed standard protocols and lacked official certification. Chief Foster saw the viral video and questioned how Blue was able to be in the field at all, since he had not gone through the fire academy. Don revealed to Foster that Blue was his son and asked for a chance for him at the 113 station. Foster made it clear that if Blue was to stay, he had to complete the full academy curriculum, 26 weeks worth. In just 7 days, Blue accepted the challenge, but he struggled under the pressure and doubted his ability. An influencer named Houtchicks was live streaming herself eating spicy chicken legs. Her fans were showering her with tips. At their request, Houtchicks pulled down her Murphy bed. She started stomping wildly on it in her high heels, all while still eating her chicken. But the next second, the bed's folding mechanism triggered. It snapped shut, swallowing the girl inside. Her viewers from England called 911 to save her, but they couldn't find her address because she was using a screen name, Dispatcher. Cammy checked the live stream replay and spotted a takeout receipt, locking down the address. The firefighters quickly broke down the door. They found the woman with only her 2 legs sticking out. The team carefully lowered the bed frame, but when they rolled her over, everyone was horrified. Her thigh bone was broken and had pierced right through her skin. The paramedics gave her painkillers and started checking her limbs. They confirmed her spine wasn't injured. When Hart asked Blue to find a pulse in her broken foot, Blue panicked because he couldn't find the girl's pulse. He apologized for letting them down and walked out. It turned out Blue couldn't find the pulse because there was none. The displaced bone had cut off the blood flow from her main artery. The paramedic made a split-second decision. They had to reset the bone right there, by hand. A blood-curdling scream made everyone watching wince. The good news was, the team saved her leg. The school bus driver suddenly realized in horror that all the children on the bus seemed dead. He was terrified and shouted loudly, but no one responded. Moments later, he felt dizzy and his eyelids grew heavy. He forced himself to stay awake and tried to control the steering wheel, but his hands wouldn't obey and his thoughts became sluggish. The bus, packed with students, swerved wildly down the road, barely missing other vehicles again and again. A deadly crash could happen at any moment. The driver used every bit of strength he had to stop the bus, but his steering turned too sharply, and the school bus went straight toward a roadside coffee stand. At the last second, the driver instinctively slammed the brakes, avoiding what could have been a terrible tragedy. Firefighters and police soon arrived at the scene. Seeing the driver staggering around, Sergeant Grant immediately suspected him of drunk driving. But when the firefighters boarded the bus and saw all the unconscious students, they realized it wasn't alcohol. It might be carbon monoxide poisoning. However, after testing, they found the carbon monoxide levels were normal. That was when Buck noticed something wrong with the engine compartment. The brake fluid had leaked and evaporated, and the vapor had entered the air conditioning system, causing everyone on the bus to pass out. The diagnosis confirmed it was ethylene glycol poisoning. Knowing that ethanol could counteract it, the firefighters came up with an idea. They rushed to a nearby store and bought several bottles of strong liquor. Seeing the worried look on the cashier's face,
"Oh no, this is not for us, this is for the kids."
Then they quickly headed to the hospital. Then, Hen brought in a 10-year-old girl named Millie and said she gave her 2 shots of 80-proof rum. Eddie said the 11-year-old girl, Libby, was started on 40 milliliters of Irish whiskey. Next came 2 other kids, Clay and Dexter, 2 tequila shots each. Somewhere out in farm country, a pair of storm chasers, Joanne and her boyfriend Hank, were live streaming the tornado. Joanne drove their truck straight through a cornfield so they could get closer to the storm. The storm suddenly turned on them. Corn was ripped from the field and slammed into the truck like bullets. A powerful gust hit the vehicle. The truck was thrown into the air, flipped, and crashed. The tornado kept bearing down on them. Joanne ran to a nearby barn for help, shouting that Hank was trapped and badly hurt. Ryan and the 113 arrived on scene in high winds and heavy debris. He immediately ordered the barn owner to open his underground storm shelter so evacuees and the storm chasers could get below ground. The air was full of flying junk. A loose axe was ripped up by the wind and nearly took Ryan's head off. Blue reacted on instinct. He tackled Ryan out of the way and saved him from the flying axe. Starting to prove that he belonged on the crew, Ryan had the firefighters grab their backboards and hold them up as shields, using them as makeshift armor against the debris that was still slamming into them. Hank was still live streaming from the wrecked truck, even while injured. The crew followed the camera and located him pinned inside the overturned vehicle. Hank's leg was badly trapped in the twisted metal. While they worked on freeing Hank's leg, the danger escalated. Another loose tool was hurled by the wind and struck a nearby gas tank. Ryan saw sparks and smelled gas. He screamed for everyone to hurry because the tank was about to blow. The team managed to free Hank just in time. They hauled him away from the wrecked truck as fire erupted. The gas tank exploded. The blast sent a column of flame up into the rotating funnel, and the tornado literally turned into a firenado, a twisting, flaming vortex tearing across the field. After the tornado passed, a trailer home was left dangling off a bridge. To make matters worse, the windshield was already spiderwebbed with cracks. Firefighter Ryan had to jump in with nothing but a safety line to save a boy named Isaac. But things got terrifying fast. The support cables started snapping, and the trailer looked like it could plunge at any second time was running out. Since the trailer was hanging upside down, everything inside had piled up at the bottom. The killer was a massive fridge that completely blocked the hallway. Ryan had no leverage and no way to move it on his own. With the trailer teetering on the edge and Isaac in mortal danger, sweat poured down Ryan's face. He asked the captain what to do. The captain said there was only one way, but it meant risking his life. Ryan's eyes showed pure determination. As he immediately asked for the plan, Don told him to unhook his rescue line and tie it around the fridge. Without hesitating, Ryan replied, "Wait for my signal." The whole crew stepped up, gripping the rope tight. As soon as the fridge was secured, the captain ordered everyone to pull. The fridge stood up instantly. Seeing that it was working, they gave it another hard heave. The fridge finally shifted out of the way, and the blocked path was open. Ryan scrambled to clear the debris and reached out a hand to save Isaac. But just then, disaster struck. One of the cables holding the trailer to the bridge snapped. Ryan was thrown back, but he managed to hang on by the rope looped around the fridge.
That's pretty smooth.
A man named Bill lay screaming on the floor, saying his heart kept shocking him. He felt like he was being electrocuted to death. The paramedics ripped open Bill's shirt and saw a strange bulge on his right chest. It was clearly his internal defibrillator, a type of pacemaker. Could the pacemaker be firing because he was having a heart attack? But that didn't sound quite right. The EMTs quickly performed a 12-lead EKG, finding his sinus rhythm was perfectly normal. There were no signs of a heart attack. Mikami instantly realized the truth. The pacemaker itself was malfunctioning. Bill had already been shocked 10 times, and most patients couldn't handle more than 15. If they couldn't stop the device, Bill would be dead in moments. As another shock ripped through him, Bill lost consciousness. The paramedics quickly brainstormed. Most implanted devices have a safety shutoff mode, triggered by a magnetic field. They needed a powerful magnet to temporarily disable the defib. Mikami got up and frantically searched around, then spotted the metal strip used to hold knives. It was a huge, powerful magnet. She used all her strength to rip it right off the wall. Novak watched, secretly impressed. They immediately placed the monitoring pads on Bill, and then placed the magnet on his chest. His heart rhythm actually stabilized, and Bill immediately woke up. All they had to do next was get him to the hospital.